Hey, it's Louis Max Grind and Pivot. Hope you enjoyed part 2. Listen now for what happens when comedy goes completely haywire behind the viral video. Peace.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
No, I get it. So so when did you start to get into the film, wanting to be in films and the video stuff? Is that, because when was the actual video? Because I think we're at that point.
Which video are we talking about?
The one that just was that went off the charts.
The controversial video?
The controversial video, correct. When that was when was that? Was 2015, or was that before that?
I think it was before that.
Okay. Bring me up to snuff on that.
It was probably 7-8 years ago or something like that. It was yeah. I was doing this character in my act called his name was Tom Vu, and Tom Vu was a guy who had late night commercials, and he was a get rich quick kind of guy, and I used to watch him all the time because I used to laugh, because he's on his yacht with all these beautiful women, and he doesn't even acknowledge them; they're just there with him. And then there's other times where he's on a tennis court bouncing a ball, and he says, "You know where I am?" He says, "You probably think I'm at my country club. No, this is at my house."
Right.
And he's flying around in a helicopter, and he walks out of the house, and this huge house. He walks out, and there's all these sports cars there. And he says, "My biggest problem today is which sports car do I drive? And come to my seminar. I'm making millions of dollars.
That whole late night seminar. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and he happened to be an Asian guy, so he had it was like broken English, and he's a scam artist, and that's to me that was the main deal. He could have been a scam artist, any ethnic background. It didn't matter.
Ethnicity is irrelevant in this case. It just happened to be Asian, and you were able to kind of sell that in your own imitation or whatever, comedy.
Yeah, and it was different times back then, so I said, man, this would be a great character to do in my act. I would love to do this guy. I said, and then I can improvise because I can ask somebody, what do you do for a living? And whatever they do for a living, that's a loser job. Come to my seminar. So the guy could say, "Oh, I'm a surgeon." That's a loser job. Come to my seminar.
I've gone to them. I've gone, the water filtration, all those guys. So hold on. I just want to stop you for 1 second because this was like 2020. So you're doing some DJing at the time for bread, or you're doing the comedy. You're kind of just doing. You don't need to be. Money wise, you were okay.
I was okay. Yeah,
you were okay.
At
You're
that
okay.
time.
Okay. Now, 2012, you're married, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just back up for a second. I want to work this in somehow. You met your wife. How long have you been married? Because you were married when were you married? Because we kind of missed that.
1995.
Okay. So 95.
Met her in 94.
Okay, so from 94, 95 through the 2000s, you're DJing as your main gig?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where you're making your bread. And you are also still doing your side hustle entertainment-wise, whether it be comedy, something.
Yeah, and occasionally I make $25. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I just want to set the right thing. Okay. And the internet is evolving, and you're following pop culture. You're staying with it. You seem to be involved in that. Okay. So you come up with this comedic some material in your act of this Asian guy.
Right. And other comedians are telling me that man, this is a great character. This is the kind of thing that can get you noticed and maybe get you on SNL as a cast member.
Correct. Okay, good.
So I'm like, oh shit, I found something, and I'm going to make it as good as I possibly can. I got originally it got a lot of laughs. I mean, because I had fun with the audience.
Just the delivery alone is funny.
It's just fun. I put the Asian glasses on, stupid glasses from Royal Novelty or. Political trading.
Yeah.
And 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 I would say, I would say, the audience, I know 3 things about this girl. I'd point out a woman in the audience, and oh, what's your name? Oh, my name is Susan. Oh, Susan. Ladies and gentlemen, I know 3 things about Susan that nobody else knows. You people want to know the 3 things about Susan that nobody else knows? Come to my seminar, I tell you. I was just reeling them in,
Right.
and we had so much fun with that. And what kind of car you drive? Whatever car they said, that's a loser car. Come to my seminar. I drive expensive sports car.
Of course.
So he crapped on everything that everybody.
I love
basically
it.
What
I love
they're
it.
doing.
I love it.
You're a loser. If you don't come to my seminar, you deserve to be broke. And he was like, and it was funny because like when those infomercials were on TV, they would always be near an airport. So I'm thinking like he wants to get in, grab their money, and get on a plane, get out of there as quick as possible. And
absolutely.
So I almost went to one of his seminars, and I said like, well, what if they hit me over the head and I'm gonna like join the cult? I just was a little afraid.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I started to do it, and people were laughing and having a good time. They understood the parody. They knew who Tom Vu was. And I'm like, wow, this is great. Years later, and as time went on, less and less people recognized the parody and just thought I was just doing an Asian character and making fun of Asian people.
Interesting.
So,
but you weren't.
I wasn't.
You never.
I was like, but I would say things like, "You see this coat? This is my coat. This is successful coat." Like
yeah, you would talk. Yeah, I know.
I was making fun of that they didn't have the English down. Love you long time is not like correct English.
Yeah, right. Okay,
yeah,
that's true.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So in a way, yeah, you're making fun of their background.
Okay.
So
could be, but you're not.
And I don't want to offend anybody when I'm doing my act. I want them to laugh.
Yeah, you're a comic. You're a comic.
Right. That's what you're there for. So let's have some fun. So time passed, and the bit started to not work as well. And then one night, I'm at the comic strip in New York City, and I'm waiting to go on. I won some kind of comedy competition, and I had to go on, like whatever. That was one of the prizes was to perform at the comic strip. And so there was 2 people sitting in the front of the room. There was nobody in the place, and there was an Asian couple sitting way in the back. And I'm thinking like, oh, I'm going to do my Tom Vu character, and like, wow, imagine if they were sitting up front, like that would be horrible. So I really couldn't do it,
right?
If they were sitting up front.
If they really right.
So but that stayed with me for a while, and then I said, you can't do this character anymore. So I said, I want to go out with a bang with this thing, and I want to have some fun with it and stage like an attack, and because on YouTube and stuff like that, you see all these attack videos and they get like millions of hits, like, somebody gets hit in the nuts and it's like 20,000, 20 million hits,
Absolutely.
Or, guy falls off a cliff and you're like, oh my God, I got to watch that 20 times.
So it was sheer idea as a bit for entertainment purposes only, of course. And you wanted to stage that and figure out a way to get really acclaim in a way, or get something out of it that would make funny.
Something to talk about.
Something funny. Right. Exactly.
And
something funny.
But I didn't know if it was going to go viral. I was hoping it would. And I also didn't know if people were going to buy it, that it was staged. Like I didn't know all these answers, because, you can put out a video and then nobody watches it. Then you can put out another video and all of a sudden you got, 5 million hits. Like what happened?
Yeah. Absolutely.
They could have easily ignored it, and it could have gone nowhere, but it didn't. It was showing up all over the freaking place.
Did you talk to anybody prior? Like, you're right, you came up with the idea, you're going to do this. Did you talk to anybody it doesn't matter, in the business, not in the business, your wife? What's your wife's name?
Karen.
Did you guys, like, did you run stuff by her, like, to say, do you think this might go south? She seems, because in the documentary, she's featured, and she seems to be The voice of reason.
She lives with a nut.
Okay, you said, yeah. Listen, I'm saying the voice of reason. I don't even know her. And I don't really know you, although I kind of know you, we're kind of from the same cloth in a way. And she seemed to be, voice of reason, like you said. Did you run it by her, or she just didn't really want to, do your thing? And as long as I'm
like, go ahead and leave me out of this. Don't mention my name.
Right, exactly.
Just there's some things that I do that she says, I wouldn't do that if I was you. With this, she says, you know the business better than I know.
Should have known, right.
and that kind of thing.
Well, who knew? Who knew really? I mean,
Yeah. And then I on one hand, I'm like, it'll be fun to do an Andy Kaufman type of bit. Where is this a bit or is it real? Is it
Of course.
So that's what I did, but I had no idea what was going to happen, if it's going to blow up, if it's just going to be ignored. Some people, will probably say, "Oh, this is a crock," and just pass on it. They don't have to you don't have to watch it. And then all of a sudden, people were commenting on it, and and it was like, they were out from my head.
Yeah. How fast did it blow up?
Oh, geez.
How did it? Take us through actually you doing it. And
I uploaded it onto YouTube.
That's my question. Okay.
First of all, I got a bunch of my comedian friends together.
Okay.
We did it in the afternoon.
Right.
At a an AOH hall, up in Monroe, and it wasn't it was an Irish some kind of organization where people get together and just hang out.
like Legion, Knights of
Pythias, American Legion,
American Legion,
sit there and drink, whatever it is. It's one of those organizations you sit around and drink.
Social club. Go ahead.
Social club, exactly. That's what nice people. And so they let me go in there during the afternoon to tape this with my friends. And before I did it, I said, well, we got to get the Asian couple. I don't really know too many Asian people. So I put an ad on Craigslist looking for an actor who knows martial arts. And this guy George answers it. And I think a friend suggested to me, you should get maybe a woman too. I was like, wow. And then I said, no, and I could throw in that other part of it where, love me long time thing. And then that gives him a reason to go after me because I'm hitting on his girlfriend.
Of course.
It made sense.
Of course.
So I said, George, do you know anybody that, that could come up with you? Oh yeah, sure. I know this woman, Rachel. And I said, bring her, I'll pay her too, And so they came up, we had pizza. Everybody had pizza. We're laughing, joking around. And I said, let's tape this. So I had my friend on one camera. I had another friend on another camera. And even with 2 camera views, people didn't put it together, or they said, well, everybody's taping this guy. There's 12, 15 people in the club and they got 2 people with videotape. And at first I was like, well, I always tape my act,
Of course.
So then we got done taping it. I told my buddy that who was taking one angle, don't upload it yet. We have to make sure it's exactly the same starting place, exactly the same ending. And I'm going to put it up on YouTube as in a fictitious name. I use Ted Knight as my name.
Barry Tyler Moore. Great. Oh my God.
How did he spell his last name? Oh, I spelled it like Ted and I put Nite or something like that.
Yeah. Because
I know he was
K-N-I.
Yeah. So I put it up as Ted Knight and, something, angry audience member, attacks comedian or something like that. And, I put it up there and start watching it and it's getting some. And my buddy uploaded his version. But we've had the start and stop time exactly the same.
Right.
And
so you're looking at it on your phone. You're looking at it on the computer. You're both.
On the computer.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if we had cell phones really that much.
Right, but you're really walking. We had you had cell phones, but maybe not as much with all the video on it. And so you're watching on the computer. I mean, you're checking.
And it took like 24 hours for it to really kick in. And then so the next day I get up and I'm looking at it and there's thousands of hits. I'm like, whoa. And I go to the office that I was working in. That's another thing. I was working with the family when I wasn't doing my show business stuff. Forgot all about that. And then I guess maybe automatically I took that out of my head. So there's a reason for everything. So I'm at the office and my friend calls me up. He says, are you watching your video? And I said, no, I'm actually doing work. And he says, you got to go on and see what's going on here. So I go on and the numbers, were going like it was almost like a gas pump, like it was like rolling like that, and I'm like, then I'd have to like I would hit the refresh, and I'm like, wait, we just got like 5,000 hits
So
in
just
like a
blowing
matter
up,
of minutes.
left from out of flavor.
And I'm like, what's going on here? He said, well, this, I said to my buddy, like, what's going on here? He said, well, this thing's going viral. He said, this is like, and then it ended up on, all those sites that, what is
Reddit,
that one?
Tomato,
Yeah,
all that stuff. Reddit, okay.
yeah. And then ended up on the cover of Gawker and then Quister. What's that world something?
World Star
Hip Hop?
World Star
Yeah,
Hip Hop.
oh yeah. On that, it was like it was racing the numbers.
It's huge.
And it was like, and I was really enjoying it. I think this is like fun to watch something blow up like this. And that Friday, I go upstate, and my brother gives me a call, and he says, "Brett, you're on the cover of, Gawker magazine." And I said, well, "What is that?" And he says, "Well, that's like one of the biggest internet, almost like a tabloid,
Yeah.
yeah,
Media,
website."
dispensing. Right.
And he says, "You're on the cover of it." And he said, "There's a big article." I said, "Oh, that's cool." And he says, "Yeah, you better check it out." So it goes into like ripping me apart.
And nobody's contacted you. Nobody.
Not yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Quister actually went into my Facebook and my Twitter and took pictures out of there and did their whole thing, and they put the video up and a long thing, and then it showed up on all these different websites, and then like there's one website called Angry Asian, and they were ripping it apart. But
all negative.
Pretty much
all negative.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
what were they saying? The making fun of the race was the thing they took.
This guy sucks as a comedian. I'm glad that guy hit him in the face. I wish you would have hit him in the face earlier.
Okay.
My favorite comment of all of them was somebody wrote, "This guy's a racist kike."
I like that. Right. Of course. Okay. Of course.
And I'm like, well, you just what is that?
Yeah. What is that? Right. Exactly. Right. So the trolls are out. The trolls are major league out. The trolls are major league out, and they're just pummeling you. Now, in this case, it's not good, but it's sometimes not good could be good also. But in this case, it was really just negativity. Nobody came to you and wanted to hear your side and hear what you had to say.
Yeah, and then a couple of comedians that I know who I'm not that close with, started to blast it. Like, this guy's giving a bad name to all comedians. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I represented all comedians.
Yeah.
It's and then I was getting phone calls, I was getting emails. I was like, I was getting nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
And I said, geez, this is a little much, and I started to, you get a little paranoid. Like anytime I would see an Asian person, I'm like, oh shit, I hope they didn't see the video. Even to this day, I like, if I see somebody who's Asian, I'm like, oh, I hope they don't recognize me.
Right. Right. Of course.
And then like I had some interviews with people that got canceled, over and over again. Like it happened several times where I would have like, oh, I'm going to meet with a new agent who maybe could that could possibly work with. And all of a sudden it got canceled, and I was never able to reschedule that meeting because I think anytime when you're going to work with somebody, you Google them and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So when you Googled my name, it was like, this guy, the racist comedian, this guy's a racist, this guy's, this, that. It was just blasting all over the place. And a lot of talent agents and managers don't want to deal with they don't want that kind of controversy.
Did you ever think of maybe putting out something right away that would explain or rebuff or something to try to stop the bleeding? I mean, I'm sure you talked to somebody about it.
Yeah, and there was a couple of guys that wanted me to go on their radio show just to like actually say, hey, this is fake. What I did was, and I really, this was recommended to me by somebody, and that I should go on and say it was real, because I didn't want to crap on everybody that thought it was real. And I apologize for doing this. It was a bad move, and da 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 da. And then like afterwards, I put that up. It didn't have, not too many people like acknowledged it. It wasn't anything exciting. And I'm like, why did I do that? I should never have like done. Why should I lie to somebody? Like I just look, I did it. It's a joke. It was a fake video.
Yeah,
I was just having some fun.
Exactly.
I'm sorry that
Exactly.
you took it the wrong way.
Right.
And so I was sorry that I made that follow-up video. It was a fake interview. And you know, and some people to this day think that the video is real. Some people think that it's all set up. I mean, all the comedians that were there that day, they know the deal. And I didn't want to take any chance of uploading the wrong video to YouTube. So I deleted the takes that we didn't use, which would have been great to have, which because that would have really set people straight.
Yeah, of course.
But I didn't want to take a chance of like, oh, don't upload the wrong video, and I got rid of those because the first 3 takes we didn't use because like George and Rachel started laughing. And I said, wait a minute, you guys are supposed to be offended by this. And it's not a joke to you guys. You're repulsed by this guy. And they just kept laughing, which made me feel good that they're laughing at the joke. And Rachel was fine with this. Rachel left, and then like a day later, George told me that she's nowhere to be found anymore because she doesn't want to talk to anybody. She was sorry that she did this video, because we ended up her face ended up on the cover of E-Bomb's World, and like she wasn't happy with that because it wasn't taking Asian people in a good light.
Well, the media's the media's merciless. We know that.
So she didn't want to be part of something that's racist against Asian people.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Her.
Yeah. So, do you regret it? What's the feeling? What's the feeling at this point? What's your feeling?
I have to be honest.
Is that not the right word, or what is?
No, I think at this point, right now, I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, I really don't.
It was funny. You thought it was funny. You thought it was comedy. You thought it was funny.
What the hell? I didn't hurt anybody.
You did not hurt anybody.
And nobody lost their job because of it. I mean, those are real issues. I didn't cause somebody hardship and or made them ill or something like that. I mean, it's a stupid video, and that's all that it is.
Right.
And so at this point, right now, today, I really don't. I don't care.
You don't really care.
You want to like it. You want to like the video. Like the video. If you don't like it, I don't care. Life goes on.
Got you.
Whether you like it or not, life goes on.
Absolutely. So, how did the documentary come into play?
John Hart, bringing him up again, asked me to do a couple of different things, and I was like, I don't know, John. I don't know if I want to do that. And And then finally, he says, I think we should make a film about what happened with you at the video. I said, do you really think people give a shit? Like today, who's gonna watch this? I mean, who's gonna be interested? He goes, no, it's a real life situation, and it's a human interest story, and I think people would love it. And then I said, well, you're a filmmaker, and I'll go along for the ride if you think, and we have to go interview different people. And I said, do you think you can get Lisa Lampanelli? I probably can get her. What about Gaffigan? I said, I don't know about him.
Right.
He's a little busy these days.
Yeah.
And
who was the other comic? Who was the other guy in front of his house?
Johnny Lampert.
Right.
Yeah, he's one of John Hart's friends too, and Johnny lives near where I live. But we didn't want everybody saying positive things, and I also didn't want my brother and sister in the film because at that time I had a falling out with them, and even I still don't talk to them. But
okay.
So I said, don't John wanted to interview those guys, and I'm like, I don't want them. I don't think they did right by me, so I don't want them in the film.
Okay.
And I said, we can dig up my old 5th grade teacher who I still am in touch with, get her. You got my mom. I could find some tape with my dad, and so I started to really get into it. Once John got me rolling.
Sure.
And then when we were all done finally. When I watched it, I said, you know what? I like this. I think we did a good job. We had like 6.5 hours of footage, and we knocked it down to 18.5 minutes. And and then I started to submit to film festivals, and it started to get accepted. And then I started to win awards. And I became friends with like a guy like Larry. His name is Larry Rosen, who runs film festivals, and we become really good friends. And so it was a whole new world to me. I'd never been to a film festival. I never did a film like this. And it opened up a whole new world. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, I loved it. And the name of the film is In the Name of Comedy. Is it available on all platforms?
It's available on some platforms.
Okay.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Okay, that's
so
right.
if you have Amazon Prime, you get it for free.
Yeah, I did say that's where I saw it.
So you'll get your money's worth.
Right. Google it. God damn it.
Google it. Yeah.
I know.
I think it may be on YouTube for whatever. The distributor that I was using went out of business. They went bankrupt. And so I don't know what's up there, what's not. And, I'm not going to get paid at all through them. And Amazon's going to give me like maybe a penny or 2 pennies every time somebody watches it.
That much?
That's good. That adds up.
It does. You know that. It used to be quarters, used to be nickels. Now it's pennies. No doubt about it. So what was your take on the film after you were able to sit down and like take it all in? Do you think that it was correct that you might not really be enjoying that journey of really wanting to be that quote unquote either comic or full-time show business guy?
Yeah. I enjoyed part of the journey, not all of it. I don't getting gigs and going on auditions is really not like, it's not fun. I mean, when you get the gig, it's fun, but auditioning, running down to the city, parking your car, the hustle bustle of the city, and then going in and, wait for them to call you in. And that's not really fun. You sit there with a bunch of other desperate people that are looking for their big break or looking for another gig. And, no, I don't enjoy that. And then you have to do it so many times before you land something. It could be, you can get a gig, maybe auditioning 2 or 3 times. And then sometimes you can go maybe 100 auditions without getting a gig. It really varies. And I mean, I've never gone 100 auditions without getting a gig, but I could go 20.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
And every time I go into the city between gas and tolls and parking.
Oh, well, the money, forget. Yeah, the money.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll never make that money back.
Yeah, that's not that. The money's probably
unless
at least
I get a sitcom. Unless I get a big hit sitcom, then I'll make it back.
So you want something. What do you think that is at this point in time? Late 50s. You still want something.
Is that late? If I'm going to be 57, is that considered late 50s?
Yeah, I'm going to give you on that. I'm going to give you
really
late.
I'm not mid.
Sorry, no, you're not.
Anymore?
You're done. You're done.
I'm done.
Yeah, you're done on that.
All right, late
sorry.
60s, late 50s. Yeah.
Sorry, coming from a 60-year-old, you're done.
There you
done.
go. I'm done.
Yeah. You're pretty.
Right.
You're pretty old.
It's over, Johnny.
You're not. It's over, Johnny.
It's over, Johnny.
I love that.
Yeah.
Is there something you still want something?
Yeah, I do.
What do you want? What is it?
I want a little bit more security. I want a little less craziness in my life. I want to my attitude has definitely changed over the years, especially even with this pandemic and stuff like that. Everything's my whole mindset's kind of changed. I'm not going after the stand-up gigs anymore. If somebody asked me to host something, whatever, I probably would do it if it's right for me. I do improv with a group called Blind Tiger, and they're out of Peekskill.
You're enjoying it? Are you enjoying it?
I am enjoying it.
You're enjoying it. You like it. It's good. No pressure. No pressure. You're doing your thing.
And I'm learning.
And you're learning.
You can teach an old dog new tricks, I guess.
For sure, of course.
I am learning and I'm getting better, and I'm having fun doing it. So I rehearse with them and we do shows. We're doing online shows now, and then until we can go back into the theater. And I have a manager who's sending me out on some gigs, and once again, I land some, I don't land some.
Some hit, some don't. It's not the end of the world. What?
And I'm giving a shit less and less with time, and that's making my auditions go better because I'm not putting the pressure on myself.
100%. Now, yeah, I'm going to ask the question after this, but you're 100% right. I'm the same way, and I think it has to do with age also. Age, maturity, experience, life. At this point, we talked about it earlier. At this point, what do you really need? You got you got the roof over your head. You got the wife. Kids are older already, right? Kids are older.
They're married and they have great jobs.
Exactly. Say I have 2 boys. The same thing. One's married. One, everybody. So you really don't need that much for yourself anymore. So it takes the pressure off of you completely. But I still love that you have the gusto of going and doing these things. And the question I wanted to ask was, any advice you could give to others that are in your spot, high, low? You might have answered it before, I'm not sure. But right now, where there are people our age, our age that have been in entertainment, but never really sacrificed everything to get to the spot where it was all glamour. What advice could you give to them, about how emotionally maybe to handle things or just your take on what's going on?
Well, first of all, I feel that I'm under more pressure now than I've ever been in my life.
To do what?
To make, you said, oh, you got a roof over your head. Oh, what's going on here? Are you still around? Hold on. It said,
I'm
yes,
here.
I am.
I am.
Yep, I'm still here. Okay, there we go. I'm under more pressure now than I've ever been in my life to keep those things that I have. I want to keep the roof over my head. I want to keep food on the table. And right now, I don't really have a job.
Okay.
So I've been working on a project, and I want to go back to your question, but I've been working on something that I've given a lot of my time to. I picked up some odd jobs here and there to make a couple of bucks and to keep myself going, but I need to make a living.
Okay, so you still need to make a living.
A living
at this point. Okay, all right. So then that's okay. So you still have the gusto, and you have to do that. So it's something you're always going to do. And you're always looking to find something, whether it's a hustle, whether it's a side hustle, whether it's something, you'll always be in the game.
Yeah, I want something regular.
Okay.
I want something, that's a little bit more of a routine, and so I can keep things managed better, and it can't be scattered all over the place like I've been for basically my whole life because of ADD. I'm like, all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I meet people that are like me, and I say, well, what do you do? And they rattle off like 20 different things. And I'm like, that's tough. And I said, I have a friend in California who I talked to last night, and he's never had a job, and he's in his 60s, and but he's done a little this, a little that, and he's scrambled, but he's not married, doesn't have kids, so he's a
big
lot
difference.
less
Big
pressure,
difference.
So right now I'm looking to make money, and that's why I did that invention,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
But I wanted to go back to like, what do I suggest?
Yeah, give the advice,
age,
and then we'll get into the next round. Yeah,
they should kill themselves.
No, you're kidding, right?
No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Okay.
I think figure out like what would make you happy, and start to do it. And don't hopefully it's not the end of the world for them, in a sense that they don't have to depend on it. Just have fun with it. It's hard to just have fun when you're trying to make it, and because you put pressure on yourself.
Very much.
I've put a lot of pressure on myself over the years, and I've driven myself nuts.
Absolutely, too much.
Yeah, I mean, and now I'm under a different type of pressure. But I think that you should do what you can do to keep yourself, keep your mind going and keep yourself going. That'll give you some happiness, and whatever that is. And if you don't have to do it for the money, that's great. If you want to be an actor, you can do community theater. You could. There's so many different groups that you can perform. You can go read at the library. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can do. I was always looking for something much bigger than that. I was looking for NBC, ABC, and CBS.
Yeah, you want to hit.
And the big stuff. And I've always been shooting for the stars, and I'm still shooting for the stars with my product.
Thanks so much for listening. Big shout outs to the crew behind the scenes: John Hart, Ian Lidovich, Russ McMahon, and of course my wife Jill. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment and subscribe, and follow at Grind and Pivot. You already know we appreciate you. Later, son.